Today we have a very fun project for you. We're going to show you how to set a spring or summer tablescape using nothing but thrifted items. Yes, nothing but thrifted items. So get your glass of sweet tea ready and join us as we begin this fun project of setting a spring and summer tablescape. Today's tablescape is inspired by the nice weather brought to us by early spring going into summer as we can venture outdoors and enjoy this nice weather. We take this opportunity many evenings to have our meal outdoors in the late evening or into the early night, enjoying the meal under the bistro lights. This is a great time of the year for us to be outdoors because this is the season when my husband comes home with a good catch of fish that he brings in from the nearby rivers and lakes near our home. I first layered the table with this amazing fish tablecloth that is in blues, reds, yellows, and whites. This was simply a piece of fabric that I found at our local thrift store, and I knew immediately I had to have it because here in the South, on these cool, nice evenings in the early spring and even into the summer, we do have a lot of fish fries. So I knew immediately this tablecloth would be serving its purpose well. So I began by laying out the tablecloth, and then I layered some thrifted chargers, and on each end of the table I have some green thrifted round placemats. On top of those chargers and placemats, I put a collection of white ironstone plates. These are large, heavy ironstone plates, and if I ever see these at the thrift store, I carry them home with me because number one, you can't go wrong with white dishes of any kind. They can be used, they're so versatile. You will find that you use them with every tablescape you create, regardless of the theme or look you're going for. On top of the white ironstone plates, I place this wonderful collection of fish plates in gold and yellow and green. This fish plate collection came from, guess what? The thrift store. I really couldn't believe it when I walked in and saw this collection. There were plates, a huge platter, bowls, there were some display dishes, and all of these items were in pristine condition. There were no chips, no cracks. It actually looked like they have never been used. So I immediately grabbed the entire collection of the fish plates and platters, and I think they're absolutely gorgeous. I layered some white, silver, and glass fish dishes as well, and each of these items also came from local thrift stores. You can get an idea of the things that you can find at thrift stores. Here, we live in an area where we have very limited thrift stores, and we don't always have many items to choose from. I took this glass jar that has the rope handle, and I simply filled it with seashells that my family's collected at the beach, and then I also added some white daisies to the jar to give it a real outdoorsy, simple look. One of my favorite items here on the table is the brown wooden fish that is above the ferns, and that was an item along with the rusty fish there on the table that I found at a local yard sale. So I absolutely love the big wooden twig fish and the rusty fish. They just add a lot of texture and dimension to this overall look and theme of the fish table. Another great find on the table that I really love are the two aluminum buckets. Each of the buckets have handles, and one's a little bit larger than the other. The smaller one was actually given to me by my brother-in-law. He found it in his father's garage when they were cleaning out and getting ready to sell some property, and he gave it to me, and I gladly accepted, knowing that I already had the larger one at home. I knew immediately what I would do with it. So I took these two ferns and placed them inside the buckets and used that as a centerpiece decoration. And here's a little tidbit on these ferns. These are not new seasonal ferns for the year. These are actually some ferns that I had discarded after last summer. I had removed the ferns from their hanging position in the back patio area, and I simply tossed them aside behind the garage. And actually the ferns started coming back this season, so I immediately took them out, gave them a little fertilizer, trimmed them back, and here they are blooming, and they look wonderful. They will continue to bloom and get more full as the season continues. So since I have not bought any new ferns yet this season, I thought these served a wonderful purpose. Being consistent and going to the thrift store quite often will allow you to pick up items here and there to pull together something similar to this Spring Summer Tablescape. To me, the best part about thrifting is you can easily pull together a look that looks like it's been collected over time. And it actually may have been collected over time. But thrifted items can come together so nicely because you can get a mixture of old and new, various looks and colors, and all at bargain prices, so that you can have a variety of items to use to pull together a tablescape at the last minute, or a tablescape that you've planned weeks in advance. It is so much fun to pull out new and different items and have a tablescape that is specific to the theme that you are offering your friends and family. As I mentioned, almost every piece of this tablescape is completely thrifted. Yes, it's made with thrifted items that I've collected over the years. Another item that you will notice on the table is the wreath that's made from vine. I mentioned this wreath in an earlier video, and I want to showcase it again here on this table, because for those of you who may not have watched that video, this wreath was made simply from some Carolina jasmine that my husband trimmed back from our back patio area, and I saved those vines and simply twisted together the vines to form a round wreath. I do this every opportunity that I get, and I save these and use them for various projects at home. The wreaths just add so much dimension to a tablescape, to a wall, to a mantle. So keep that in mind when you're trimming back vines in your yard, and think how possibly you can repurpose them. Another item that you will notice near the tablescape is Mrs. Kitty. Mrs. Kitty is a new mama, and she was also thrifted. I got her from a local yard sale. Just kidding. Just trying to see who's still listening. No, Mama Kitty is definitely not a thrifted item. She is part of this family, and she had some Easter babies, and she's a good mama cat.